Hello boys and welcome to another game of Dota 2. I don't know if I've been inactive recently, but I think it's been alright. Hopefully the audio is working now. Had a good day myself, managed to pull out the 3-0 in the ranked games today somehow, which is nice. Threw a few yesterday, so always chill. Anyway, this is a bit of a quick one today because I'm lazy. And it's also like 1 AM, so I don't feel like casting a fucking 50-minute game. But anyway, it's all for practice. No one's watching, so I can just sort of say what I like and see what happens. So for the Radiant, we have looks like, where's that going? So it's going to be a TA mid. Looks like I'm not entirely sure. We'll see how those lanes pan out. But for the Dire, we're going to have PL and Oracle in the safe lane, Magnus for the mid lane, and Cr1t Clockwerk in the off lane. It looks like the Cr1t is the core here, but I'm not completely sure. Let's say he's got a smoke queued up. It's probably Venom core. It looks like it's a TA mid for the Radiant, but that is all I've figured out so far. These are not really, I don't know. But free camera, let's have a look at what this Slardar is doing. So we do have Miracle on the Slardar, we have Cr1t on the Clockwerk, and I believe we have somebody another pro on the PL. Somebody from Viking, I don't remember all the players. Looks like Oracle might just, no, let's get his cell broken and we'll be brought down. A lot of damage coming out there. Okay, so it's a Lina 4, it looks like it's a Slardar, let's call it a position 1, and then a Phoenix position 3 where they dodge lanes. That's what makes the most sense, to me at least. Bane just trading straight into battery assault, which is a bit of a surprise. I didn't realise that was something you could do, but I suppose maybe level 1 battery assault simply doesn't do enough damage to really be effective. But Oracle dies again. Looks like this Slardar is absolutely going to just tear face this game. I should have the last hits up, though it does seem like it's going to be pretty outdated pretty fast if the Slardar keeps murdering at this rate. Meanwhile in mid, I've not really said anything so far. Mid lane seems to be going in the Magnus' favour. Obviously the Empower gives him a huge amount of base damage, which even TA with her rather disgusting damage, it does struggle to keep up with. At least when refraction is down. Refraction's up, you still have the advantage, but you know, it costs a lot of mana. It's a lot more mana to pull refraction out than it is to use Empower, and it doesn't last anywhere near as long as Empower if we're looking at, you know, attacks per mana. Obviously the durations are, oh no, even the durations are completely different. But the duration on refraction is kind of irrelevant anyway. Down bottom, it does seem like everyone's getting harassed a lot except the Bane, who has just a courier, not an important death that I'd missed again, but it does bring the courier down, preventing the Wraithband getting out to the PL, which is really going to hinder him in that lane because Slardar has a lot of presence in that lane, and he really does. The stance would be very nice to be able to lane with. Either way, down bottom, it does seem like it's a Cr1t core indeed. Cr1t being quite strong has gone for Plague Wards instead of his Q, which kind of makes sense to some extent. You don't really trade with Plague Wards. You just there's no good trade with them, and it allows him to sort of just sit in the lane, apply his presence, and Phoenix can just Icarus dive away, whereas Bane can sleep you. So the slow itself is one burst massive slow is not as useful. At least that's my analysis of it. But an Icarus dive forward just to try and put some damage on the Venomancer might turn badly as the Phoenix gets cogged in with no Icarus dive, might be sniped by the Oracle's Purifying Flames. Doesn't have it yet. Defensive Nightmare from the Bane. But Phoenix will be brought down as the Venom comes back in with the Plague Wards, but it remains to be seen if anything else gets out of it. Does have the Mango for the Brain Sap if somebody falls a bit too low. Looks like the Oracle will go down, but it's certainly not the juiciest target they could have gone on. However, forcing the Oracle to rotate down and address this offlane has forced the PL already out of lane and into the jungle. Not a fun time for PL, since he doesn't exactly have a very fast jungle speed. Looks like PL's going to try and come towards bottom and then acquire farm down there, but I don't think it'll be very easy down here either, as his attack speed's not amazing as it is, and Spirits, well, you can purge it off with Doppel for sure, but they can set up on him reasonably easy with the Nightmare, and then you only have one Doppel, whereas there's 4 for Spirits. So he Doppels down, he's Spirited up, he's just going to get harassed down by the Phoenix, but even then, it's probably an easier lane than just getting repeatedly killed by Slardar. In that respect, it was less the Oracle being forced into the offlane, more being forced out of the safe lane. Looks like Venomancer just gets torn down again. Torn down again, or rather Slardar just takes another head. The Slardar Lina absolutely demolishing. Interesting, he's going Midas. Seeing a lot of Midases get picked up nowadays. It seems like the items sort of come back into existence. It wasn't an item for a very long time in any real sense, and now it seems to be very popular again. And I'm not completely sure why, because I can't remember what the patch notes were. Meanwhile in mid, Clockwerk has come in. Does he still have cogs? Yes, he does. Will they be committed? No, but the battery assault will find the Lina at the end. We'll find the TA at the end, Lina being a bit too slow to come in at the right time. Manages to get no denies there, but that's not a big deal. In the CS charts, in fact, they're not really worth a damn at this point in the game, because there's been so many kills, and it's been a bit of a mess of a game. Slardar absolutely crushing the net worth. Looks like he's killing someone again, actually. No, he's just pressuring the tower. Veno sitting in the fog and the trees, trying to set up enough Plague Wards to maybe dissuade Slardar from battering the house down. You can see him dragging the creep wave away, so the tower will kill the catapult. Defensive cogs being forced from the Clockwerk, but no one can really stop this Slardar. He's on a roll, he's cutting creep waves behind the tower, and he simply can't be stopped. He kills anyone in his path. He's so far ahead that he's out-farming the Magnus with Empower. That's a hell of a thing to do. As a hero that honestly doesn't farm, it doesn't really have extreme flash farming capabilities in any respect. Sure, it's still early games, and the Magnus will certainly accelerate to be faster than him, but it's still quite damning that he's already this far ahead. And the Midas will perhaps allow him to keep up. I mean, well down bottom. Looks like I thought the Bane would be going down there, but a quick brain sap, 3 points in it already, will bring the PL very low. Has a stick, doesn't quite have enough to get him up to the brain sap. However, a few more seconds of regen. He has what? 120, 135 mana in that stick, meaning he can definitely get a fast brain sap off if the PL overextends at all. But both of them are very low. Now has a Clarity running. There is a ward underneath that tower. Clarity is broken. That might just give away the fact that there is a ward. Meanwhile in mid, The rotation from the Slardar secures a double kill onto the Magnus and the Clockwerk. I'm missing literally everything interesting in this game, but oh well, it happens. Bane looking for the Oracle, might go for the Nightmare setup. Just goes for the Brain Sap, almost brought down by the Oracle burst. A few more right clicks and he will die. Very strong support, this Bane. A few points in Brain Sap. No, not a pure damage spell. I think he may have used to have been. That's what my brain tells me it is, but still, it's a very, very powerful nuke, and it's good for trading. More kills from the top line. It's good for trading because it's sort of, you gain health, making it extremely efficient. Feels like at this point the Plague Wards are merely just accelerating the Slardar's farm, who is... I thought Magnus might be able to get ahead, but the rotation and the double kill just completely shuts him out of this game. I don't like to be a negative Nancy. Okay, I do like to be a negative Nancy. However, I would not be too surprised if people already felt like this game was pretty over. As the Slardar is... If 10k is a good marker for how you're doing at 20 minutes, how 6k at 10? Absolutely monstrous. I am curious to see what item the Slardar goes next. Blink seems less than ideal, since it doesn't really give you anything. Perhaps an Ags, maybe just some insane greed. Perhaps a Halberd isn't very good this game, but who knows? Who knows? I mean, Slardar knows, I'm sure. Clock picks up the double damage rune, try and deny it, but will merely find himself murdered. And Oracle might be caught by the Nightmare, holding the Purge on himself. Nice little play there, just prevents the Nightmare from doing anything. But a quick Supernova, from the sounds of it, will kill off Boom, who is on the Phantom Lancer. Hooray, I finally found out. And another kill for Miracle. I will admit, I'm never sure in these games whether I should use the usernames of the pros, because I'm not about to use everyone's username, because I don't really care about the randoms to some extent, but maybe I should. Let's try it for a bit. 8k net worth lead now for the Radiant, but Isaac is jungling, gets a nice double stack, should accelerate him a little, hopefully at least catch up to the Phoenix. But this Slardar terrifies me. He's going for the BKB because probably just because he wants to stand in people's faces and beat them with his massive stick. Very much giving all the space this TA could ever want so that she can hit her item timings fast enough. Now, it's said at my bracket that TA is a hero that makes space, and I think this is complete nonsense, because this hero doesn't do anything until it gets a minimum Desolator, in reality Desolator Blink, and some games Desolator Blink BKB. It absorbs space, it wants to farm, and then it wants to, two-shot supports. Speaking of which, it looks like Oracle is having a horrible time, and is getting soloed by a couple of creeps. What an unfortunate hookshot, might just leave into the Phoenix's death, but no. Dragon Slave wards them away. Very unfortunate hookshot. Rare to see crit miss such a thing. But even the best are fallible. Once again, Slardar just taking the extra farm from the wards.
Is Dire going to let that middle tower fall?
That's a nice little ward. I've not seen that spot before. I'll have to try that one out. And now they go straight into Roche. Doesn't even have the BKB finished up, but with 2 points in Corrosive Haze, the Roche just dies. And the Blightstone, in fact. Is it? Oh, completed Desolate, in fact. Perhaps that is what prompted them to go into the pit. but I couldn't say. There were probably several other things on the map, such as heroes being out of position or dead, or just generally being capable of contesting. Venno has not taken the ult yet, which is standard. In some, he's one of those heroes where you don't skill the ult until you have to, because you can accelerate your farm with Plague Wards, and your other skills are all very useful. However, he's going to need it, and he takes the point now, was holding it. Supernova doesn't manage to go off, but the grip goes onto the Magnus, and the TA is able to just lay into it. False Promise onto the Clockwerk does not save him in time, and Venomancer is forced to retreat. Oracle, not quite caught, has the Dispel on himself to get rid of the Corrosive Haze before he gets two-shot. But the slow and a quick 4-staff away looked like he was almost certainly dead there, and there is a bash on the Slardar, but thanks to the 4-staff from his teammate, he lives to fight another day, or probably just die in a few minutes' time, if we're more honest about it. It is always possible for this team, this Dire team, to pull off an insane fight. They have RP. They have a PL who is having a horrible time and doesn't have a Diffusal Blade. So he's probably not going to be useful for a while. But they have RP. They have RP and Venno ult, which are two huge teamfight ultimates. And then Hookshot to perhaps pick off the Lina, the Bane, or the TA if they get in the way. There's a lot of targets for pick off in this game. Some of them easier than others for sure, but it certainly doesn't hurt to have the option. Meanwhile, if we look at, I think the most damning thing in this game is the sheer net worth difference, where all the cores pretty much on the Radiant are ahead of all the cores on the Dire, with the exception of Phoenix, who kind of took a bit of a beating. Meme Hammer first on Phoenix is not a build I've seen, but I don't see any good Phoenixes in my games. So perhaps it's more meta than I know, or perhaps it just seems good this game for reasons I'll admit I don't quite see. You have enough tower pressure, that's for sure. TA will kill towers for you. You don't need it for that. You have ways of pushing waves in the forms of the Lina and the TA, and even Phoenix to some extent. But a hookshot onto the Bane will ensure he dies. So I don't quite see the point of the meme hammer. Maybe there's some interaction with Supernova that I'm not aware of, but who knows? Maybe the Phoenix just wants more wave clear, and the stats are good. Stats are good. I don't, however, see a specific reason to be going for it, however. But Slardar is having a fun time, just dancing around behind the tier 2s. Is going to possibly find a free Oracle here, if he gets, any sort of stun on him, but the sprint runs out, allowing the Oracle to walk away. And now he dies to TA Blink. Slardar doesn't even manage to get a look in as TA melts Oracle. Clock doesn't really want to be here, and that is damage. That is damage. Bash and Haze doing half a Clock's health in a single hit.
Is Dire going to let that middle tower fall? Dire structures are fortified.
Looks like mid tower is going to fall here without any real possibility of defense. I am surprised that they went into the pit for the Aegis and then came out and didn't really do anything. I personally, and I think many of us feel the need to do something with the Aegis if we have it. I mean, do these fights even require speaking of? Nice, very nice RP, but a Light Strike array to catch it out, and the Magnus will fall. Signs of life for just a second, but a quick LSA shuts that down and PL will fall. Only Clock will stand, but perhaps not for much longer. PA not quite healthy enough to blink in, but could just go and burn the Aegis if she felt like it.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Aegis is now reclaimed. And Clock attempts to find a pickoff, and eventually does, but with the help of the Oracle. But the Oracle is not going to make it through this one. Venno comes in to give a bit of an assistance. False promise on the Venno. Poison goes down. They might just manage to find the Slardar here, but the Sunray will heal him up just in time for him to get out to the fountain. Even with everything going well and a bit of an overextension from the Radiant, they still can't really kill anyone. Not without hemorrhaging lives on their own team. I do want to know what prompted that meme, however, though. Maybe it is meta, and I don't know. Well, I suppose I mean, it seems to combo well with the Nightmare, admittedly. I don't think there's much to say about this. They've just, I don't think there's any coming back into this game. Did I finish my thoughts about the Aegis? I'll just do it now. No, I think myself and all the other people at my bracket, when we have an Aegis, we feel the need, like, we have to do something with it. We have this thing, and it's valuable, and there's a timer on it, so ergo we must take fight and hit tower, and sometimes that throws the game, because just having an Aegis is not always enough to win a fight. Because if the Aegis is on someone who will simply die twice for whatever reason, because they don't have the right items, or they're not quite useful yet in a fight, what terrible camera control as PL gets blown up on the back lines. Does try and dive, very far, very nice RP. They might just find someone here, but the hookshot onto the Plague Ward doesn't manage to make it work. LSA onto the Oracle, but they just managed to keep him alive at the very last second as he heals himself up, but a quick bash from the Slardar will, and then a TP out. There is no cancel. Supernova goes in and they have no way of stopping it. Tyr on the backline kills the Magnus. And once again, only Clock is standing. Has to retreat to the fountain and simply watch as his buildings fall. I will admit, I'm surprised at how cautiously the Radiant side is playing. They surely feel how powerful they are. Everyone's dead, TA's alive, and yet that Rax is just being left alone because TA feels like, hey, some ancients. I think this is probably a mistake or some massive cockiness on their part, but who am I to judge? A less than impartial observer, that is who I am. Not that I have any stakes on this, but I feel like this game could very much be over by now if they had decided to GG push off the back of that. No deaths on this Slardar just yet. Horrific. He does go for the blink before the Ags, and then looks for the MKB afterwards. Because MKB is an incredibly good damage item at the moment. Gives you everything you want: damage, attack speed, the ability to pierce evasion and do magical damage. It's great. Looks like sounds like somebody might be dying. Oh, it's Oracle. I'll admit I can't quite be bothered to watch all of the times the Slardar two-shot someone at this point, which is perhaps me being exceptionally lazy, but also it happens so fast. I have to be very switched on to catch it. And the only thing that's switched on right now is my PC. Maybe a nice quick hook shot? Just blind the fog to catch a support, but no. Very sad level 9 Clockwerk. Just sort of watching the crepes. Get the sense perhaps he was somewhere else on the map. This is, assume Magnus is cutting waves by the looks of it, but this is what the Radiant were waiting for. They just wanted to put another Aegis on the TA just in case the impossible happened and something went wrong. Clockwerk is running away, but gets cold feet, is caught and died. Slardar jumps the PL dies to grip. buyback on the clock into a hook shot. Supernova comes out. It's not perfectly placed. RP on the two supports, and they're brought into the fountain. Should get both the two supports, but no, the Sunray is there to just about heal the Lina up, and she will just barely survive. Clockwerk desperately trying to kill her. Veno comes in, but it's not enough. The Lina will go down, but so will the Veno, and that is a... that's that. Looks like a bit of salt coming out on the Oracle. I'm sure he has reasoned away why this is his fault, or rather not his fault. Because in Dota, it's always not your fault. If playing pubs has taught me anything. The other thing pubs have taught me is don't enrage a Kunkka, especially if you're in a pre-made. Even if he is wrong. So remember that, boys. Don't piss off your salty teammates. And there goes PL. Oh, he does just about. Nope, LSA kills him. Very sad. I don't know, not much to say about this game. Slardar went and stomped. The other lanes won as well. That's all it was.